I think blaming solo queue, there is some deep issue with solo queue, the ping and stuff like that, the amount of players available and stuff, but it's one more excuses. I think NA is really good at making excuses, whatever they are.
Well, it's week 6 of NALCS. I'm joined right now by Romain, the general manager?
I'm now general manager for Optic Gaming.
General manager for Optic Gaming after a series of victories for Optic as they've been climbing their way out from the bottom of NALCS standings. And it looks like it's working. What has been going on behind the scenes? Because I think a lot of people, no offense, had started to kind of ride off Optic a little bit in the NALCS.
I think we had a terrible first split due to a lack of infrastructure, like physical, proper infrastructure. We fixed a lot of stuff during mid-season. We moved to a 10-man roster, allowing the coaching staff to put more pressure on the main roster. Literally every single of our player has been benched for at least one day, which is in a really healthy way because it's 10 people working towards a common goal. Even if you see most of the time the same 5 guys on stage, is huge stack of people working. So I have to say congrats to the coaching staff, congrats to Zab, congrats to Cop, congrats to Croissant. They're doing a really good job. It's showing on stage, so I'm extremely happy about it.
Yeah. Well, how are the guys sort of maintaining, and how are you guys helping the guys maintain their mentality? Because I think a lot of people, I interviewed Power of Evil last week. He was talking about just how hard it was to deal with so many losses early on.
Yeah, it is, and we had terrible weeks of Scream. Now we fixed it. It's way better. I think it comes down to structure. You need to have the feeling to go to work, but you need to also have the feeling it's not really work. So you feel the structure, you feel the timing, you feel the way you work, the way you talk about the Scream and stuff like that. I think we're improving on that regard, definitely.
What do you think of the state of NALCS? Because everyone is really close, right? Like you watch TSM lose to Cloud9, who up until today were the bottom team, and TSM, who's like a historic. It feels really weird right now. And you guys have had this in EU, by the way, before.
We had that in EU before. I think it's extremely scary. If it was off camera, I would say it's a disaster. But it's bad because whoever is going to make it out is going to be traumatized. Like unless someone is able to keep winning again and again and again, meaning they have a winning recipe. At the end of the day, the guy which is going to win an LCS is going to be like, okay, I did it, but could have been you, or could have been you, or could have been you. And there's no way you're going to be efficient once you're going to face Misfit, Fnatic, and I'm not even going to discuss Korea and China the way they are playing right now. So I think it's extremely scary, but let's see whoever's going to win at the end of the day. I hope it's going to be the same team consistently destroying everyone.
Yeah. Do you think that Optic has a chance of winning finals?
Yes. Like, ask me the same question 3 weeks ago, I would have said, that would have been a marketing yes. Nowadays, yes. Yeah. We are on 3 weeks. And the way we won the 3 games, it's good. So, yes, we definitely have a chance, which is scary for NA kind of, because when I see the amount of money, coaching staff and resources invested on some teams, I would expect them to be technically better than us. But yeah, I'm extremely happy of the guys.
Yeah. What do you think of the fact that, because we did an interview at the start of the split where you were talking candidly about the fact that you guys didn't go out there and spend to get like the biggest names with the highest win rate records. You found a more humble team that you wanted to grow. Golden Guardians did that similarly. Clutch did that similarly. And I think at the end of last split, I would have told you, well, it looks like you go out there, you just find some veterans, you find some big names, you hire them, pay them a ton of money, you're going to win. But this split, we're seeing Golden Guardians win. We're seeing you guys start to rise up and throw down some of these guys. What do you think it means that we're seeing more parity despite the difference in spending and resources and all that?
I think the franchise model is starting to kick in, and whatever you build on, you're capitalizing on it, which is definitely interesting. And seeing some of the big orgs being a bit shaky at the moment, yes, it's not really good for the long term of the business, but it also means the new orgs are doing things properly. And because when you're an old org, whatever you were doing before, you're going to keep doing it. And most of those new orgs, we had to create everything from scratch, allowing us to correct things way faster, like the Golden did, for example, and they are now on fire. For example, we're starting to have a good run as well. So I think it's a validation of the franchise model, making it really interesting, I believe, for Europe. And let's see what's going to happen in November. Do you need to spend $500,000 on a really solid player, or should you go for those individuality and making sure they match together? Because ULCS, NLCS, any LCS is a marathon. It's 9 months. So yeah, of course you have the honeymoon phase and you can add and skip more people where we just saw Kikis in Europe, for example, winning. And I believe it's really good to create those honeymoon contexts where everyone is going to be hype and stuff. Yeah, but the power of structuring training, I think, is what we're seeing right now.
One of the interesting things that happened, you're speaking of the EU teams, when Rift Rivals hit, was a lot of the EU players came over and started talking about NA infrastructure, right? Whether it's solo queue, whether it's the ping, whether it's any of that stuff. You're in an interesting position where you were leading a team over there that had the benefits of sort of that more like technological player, whatever you want to say, infrastructure, and now you're here. So what is your whole take on all that conversation?
I think the status of solo queue, is it good, is it bad? It's inexcusable. Like, it's an excuse masking the fact that there is a problem with motivation. And that's something I was discussing with Monsieur Thorin and not too long ago, which I believe in Europe, to get a lot of money and a good infrastructure, you need to be a good player. In NA, you just need to be a player. I'm not even blaming it on the guys. I'm blaming it maybe on the org, and I include us at the same time, which is just being an NA LCS player is offering you a level of comfort, which is the level of comfort you should strive for. And because you have it, why would you keep all this sick motivation when you already have the money, the ladies, and the sick parties, and the really nice atmosphere, and the best coaching staff, and stuff like that? Yeah. So, and once again, it goes down to the coaching staff. How do you make sure those guys stay motivated? Because once you're going to be on stage versus Taiwan or any of those supposed to be lower teams, they're here to kill. They're here to draw blood, and have the feeling whoever's going to win an LCS right now might not be the most motivated team in the international level. It's going to be the most motivated of NA. But so yeah, I think blaming solo queue, there is some deep issue with solo queue, the ping and stuff like that, the amount of players available and stuff. But it's one more excuses. I think NA is really good at making excuses, whatever they are.
You mentioned sick parties, Romain. Where are these sick parties? I have not been to sick parties. I've been to one or two, maybe like once a split, there's an okay party. It's getting really bright out here all of a sudden. But where are the sick parties at?
I've been to one only in 7 months, but just walking in this party and seeing all those beautiful people, it's like, from a player perspective, when you end up in a party and you have the top level of Twitch people, some really nice Riot people, some really nice, and which makes sense, we're in LA. We're in the beating heart of esport. You have all those big companies and stuff like that. Should be the kind of stuff in your dream, you know. But you can have it just by being a player. So where do you get this extra motivation, allowing you to go the extra mile? And that's also one of the reasons why all the EU guys came here and were like, "Oh my God, NA is nice." And they all said NA is nice. Solo queue's trash, but NA is nice. They loved it.
I'm super distracted by the badass parties now, or the sick parties, because I just want to know where these are. So it sounds like we have better parties than EU.
No, actually.
Well, but you're saying...
Okay, yeah, with different parties than EU. So in NA, you're going to have parties. Esport, I think the parties are better in Berlin. For example, Berlin is insane for really good party, but you have to leave the esport ecosystem. NA has way better esport parties, like miles away. I've never seen such a high level of esport party in EU. Okay. Let's phrase it that way.
Yeah. All right. Back off of the parties, though, because that's just fascinating to me. All right. So other than that, you know, what do you think of Optic's path to getting to this place as an organization, right? Because, again, like, really disappointing spring split. How do you feel about all the work that you guys have done to bring you there? Was the spring split just part of the process, or was it like a lot of missteps that you get made? Like, what was sort of the path here?
I think spring split was part of the process. I had a specific way in my head to how a team needs to be performant and stuff. It took time to make sure everyone was on the same page. It's like when you play rugby, for example, there's a rule, which is the guy with the ball takes a decision. It might be a bad decision unless the 15 guys on the pitch are committing to it. You're never going to know how good it is. Sure. So it took a bit of time for us to make sure we were all on the same path and the same way. And now it's. I mean, we're 3-0 so far. So I think we made sure everyone was working the same way, which might be a bit difficult actually when you draft big egos. Because when you draft a lot of successful players, they all have this specific way to how to win the game. And if they're not all on the same path, well, maybe at one point it's going to blow up. So that's why sometimes it's easier to work with rookies. Because they're just going to say yes to whatever you tell them. So maybe you don't have the best idea, but when 5 guys are playing the same stuff, it's easier.
Yeah, very good. Anything that you want to say to any of the fans out there?
Thank you for the few of you which like Optic League of Legends. I know we've been sucking at content recently. We are working really hard to make it back to you guys, and the more we're going to win, the more enjoyable it's going to be. So, thanks.
Way easier to make content when everyone's in a good mood. I would
First,
say.
and winning is the best content. And that's something I was thinking a lot because I got drafted from Unicorns of Love, and everyone was like, "Yeah, maybe you can just do the same stuff." But the difference is Unicorns of Love was winning a lot. And they had those amazing wins. The TSM won. They made playoff every single time. They made finals a lot of times. So at least you create this. We're different, but we're winning. So you still want to like us. When you start an org from scratch, you have nothing. So now it's going to get better.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for the interview. Congratulations on the win streak. Looking forward to seeing it possibly continue in the next couple of days. You can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel. Hey, hope you enjoyed that interview. I certainly did. I'm actually going to rewatch it several times after this. Anyway, my point is, I want to say thanks to OmniSlash for supporting this content. And also I wanted to mention something to you. If you're running ad block on this YouTube channel right now, that's sad. But I've got a way in which you can make me happy. If you have Amazon Prime, you can get Twitch Prime. You just link your Amazon Prime, your Twitch account. You can click the Twitch link in the YouTube description and give me your free Twitch Prime. That's actually kind of cool. Anyway, thanks again, OmniSlash. Thanks for watching. That's it.